There was a time where Billabong was the coolest brand in Australia. I grew up seeing brands like Rip Curl, Quicksilver and Billabong everywhere. And very quickly I began to realize that surf culture in this country wasn't just about going to the beach. It birthed our entire streetwear scene. It started on a kitchen table in the Gold Coast in 1973. Gordon and Rena Merchant were hand sewing board shorts in their apartment. The couple had a child on the way and they needed to make some income. So Rena did the sewing and Gordon perfected the patterns and tested them on his daily surfs around the area. They sold them to local surf shops for $4.50 a pair. These had no label on them, at least for the first year. And despite the myth that they were making board shorts one minute and millionaires the next, the business struggled in its early years and nearly went under twice. But you see, Gordon understood better than anyone what surfers actually needed. His board shorts were triple stitched, quick drying, and had a wide leg cut for freedom of movement. And the name for the brand came in 1974. Billabong is a Wiradjuri word meaning creek that only runs during the rainy season. By 1975, the demand actually outgrew their apartment space, so they opened their first factory. However, the early success of Billabong can't only be attributed to what they were selling. Surfing in Australia was a form of counterculture. Surfers were early risers and lived for the water. This was a community built around a non-traditionalist approach to living. 99% of the surfers in the water were not there to compete. They were there because it felt like nothing else. Billabong's slogan was "Only a surfer knows the feeling." So off the basis of that, you can understand how these brands weren't just selling clothes. They sold belonging to a culture. So very quickly, what you wore to the beach became what you wore to the shops. And this trend was accelerated through superstars like Tom Carroll, Taj Burrow, and Joel Parkinson became faces of that world, helping grow the sport to new levels. At their peak in 2007, the company was actually valued at $3.84 billion. And Billabong board shorts were being exported to New Zealand, Japan, and South Africa. Then they started acquiring everything in sight. Von Zipper, Element, RVCA. They found themselves in a predicament where they were expanding too fast and taking on too much debt. And when a global financial crisis hit, they couldn't sustain it all. And the brand eventually ended up in the hand of American investors. But what they built from 1973 to the mid-2000s remains one of the greatest brand stories in Australian history. Gordon Merchant wasn't building a fashion brand. He was solving a problem for surfers. And the culture that grew around that solution is why Australian streetwear has its own identity today.